Hey everybody, the other day I shot a video about options to get our fish tanks through a power outage, and one of the things I suggested was getting a small deep cycle marine battery and then an inexpensive power inverter so you could plug your electrical equipment like your filters and your air pumps and so on and so forth directly into this power inverter, and you wouldn't have to worry about it for quite a long time before the battery ran down. And some people suggested that there are rechargeable air filters that will kick in automatically when the power goes out. And so I looked into that. I shot a video about that. And so now this is going to be my third and final video, hopefully, on this topic. And today I want to talk specifically about the batteries, because I've been hearing from a lot of people that my idea of using a small marine deep cycle battery that's about yay big costs you about $60 to $75, and then you'd have to buy a small power inverter, which might cost you another $25 or $30, so maybe $100 total, and you would have essentially a way to plug in AC electric equipment like filters, heaters, air stones, etc., and you wouldn't have to rely on this internal battery within the filter or within the air pump. So a lot of people were just saying how antiquated that was and how outdated that was, and there's no reason, because you have these filters that you can just plug in and they're USB rechargeable and so on and so forth. And that is true, except there's a time and a place for everything. And so let me start by saying I fully understand that the vast majority of power outages that the vast majority of us experience are going to be between a few minutes and a few hours long. I get that. Most power outages are not going to last 12 or 20 hours. Most of them are going to last between 20 minutes and a few hours. And so in most cases, one of these little battery operated, internally battery operated ones would work. They have, every one that I was able to look at says anywhere between 20 and 36 hours operation time. I would imagine it depends on how much equipment you're running off of it. Some of them have multiple hoses and so on and so forth. So about 20 hours was the average runtime on these, and they were rated, their battery power, their battery capacity was rated in milliamp hours. And so I want to put things in perspective for people that don't really know about amp hours and how long batteries last and how much juice they use and all that kind of stuff. So the deep cycle marine batteries don't deal in milliamp hours, they deal in amp hours. And so if we convert everything into milliamp hours and put everything on the same footing, these little rechargeable air pumps that everybody keeps saying are so great, and again, they probably will last the duration of your power outage in most cases, but all you can operate off of that is that air pump and nothing else. And it's got a 1600 milliamp hour battery in it. Everyone I looked at has the same 1600 milliamp hour battery in it. The deep cycle battery that I keep talking about that costs you about $70 is 35,000 milliamp hours. So if you can run a single air pump for 20 hours off of 1600 milliamp hours, imagine what you can do in your entire fish room if you've got a battery that holds 35,000 milliamp hours and you're able to plug in electrical appliances such as filters and air pumps. You don't have to get special air pumps that have batteries on them. You can just plug in your regular air pump right into this power inverter. You can plug a plug strip into the power inverter and plug all your filters right into that. And so to me, the value of the deep cycle battery power inverter combo is not so much in how long it will last. It's seldom going to be the case where I need to keep my aquarium running for 9 days while the power's out. And that's the kind of difference we're talking about. If one of those little built-in battery packs will run your tank for 20 hours, then you're looking at 400 to 600 hours off of a 3500 or 35 amp hour battery. You're looking at about 500 hours. That's a week and a half or something. And so that's not where you really get your benefit. Where you really get your benefit is it's your volume, the size of it, how much stuff you can run off of that one battery. So if you've got a 10-gallon tank, sure, having one of those little backup air pumps or something is fine. Maybe if you got 1 or 2 tanks, maybe buying a couple of those would be fine. But once you get up to where you're trying to keep 2, 3, 4 tanks running, and you've got filters and you got water circulation or air stones or whatever, spending $25 a piece on individual little battery backups for every single tank doesn't make as much sense to me as simply spending about $100 and where you've got this backup system where you can plug in your coffee maker, you know, and brew your coffee in the morning off of it if you wanted to. It's a way you can plug in normal AC electrical appliances. You can plug in the lights, you can plug in a lamp. You know, again, the size of the power inverter and the size of the battery and everything is going to play into it. But that's the kind of comparison we're talking about. These small deep cycle battery that I'm talking about, and they make them all the way up to 100 amp hours. I've seen 200 amp hour batteries, but that's getting a little ridiculous. So a 35 amp hour battery, again, is a small deep cycle battery. It's just a little job, like yay big, and it'll cost you about $60 or $70. And then a small power inverter up to like 500 watts or so, you can probably get in that $30, $35 range. If you get into the larger power inverters, like the one I showed in my video the other day, where it's 1100 watt power inverter, you can actually run like a space heater off of that if you needed to. That costs about $80. So if you were looking at that system, you're looking at maybe $150 total to have, you know, that small battery, and then a pretty substantial power inverter would still be about $150. But again, you can plug in a space heater into that. Now, a space heater is going to drain your battery much faster, you know, but again, there's a reason I suggest having a battery and power inverter versus these little tiny, it'll last for 12 or 14, 15 hours, and then once the battery's dead, it's just dead. I know that holds true with the car battery or the deep cycle battery, the marine battery, but it'll be days and days before that one is dead and needs to be recharged. Your little rechargeable air pump, it's going to last a day, and then you're going to have to find a way to recharge it, and you're going to have to take it out to your car or something to recharge it. Whereas if you're just using that small deep cycle battery, it'll be a week before you even need to think about recharging it. You know, so again, everything has its place. I'm not saying not to get one of those little rechargeable ones, and they're great for kicking in an emergency if you're gone for long periods of time, if you're at work during the day and the power may go out in the morning and you've got the whole duration of the day. Having something that kicks in automatically when the power goes off could be a good thing. So there's options is what I'm saying, and to simply write off what I'm saying as antiquated, outdated, old technology that we don't need to use anymore, I think is wrong. It still has its place and its value. And as I said in my other video, once you get up into a big enough battery and a big enough power inverter, it makes sense to not do the DIY version, but simply buy one of those indoor generators, which is exactly the same thing. It's a built-in battery bank with a power inverter, and it's just got more controls and switches, and you know, it shows you your battery readout and everything, and you get a lot more bells and whistles with it. But again, it's the same thing. It's a battery bank with a power inverter. And it's worth buying those if you've got a large fish room like this. If I needed to rely on something, you know, I couldn't run an actual generator that, you know, that runs on gas and, you know, creates fumes and noise and everything else. If I couldn't run one of them, it would be worth buying one of those, you know, 3,000 or 3,500 watt indoor generators, which again is a battery bank. It's a fancy way of saying battery bank, a misleading way of saying battery bank, I think, personally. Anyway, you get the idea. So give me your thoughts. I've already enjoyed them so far. We've got 3 videos out of this one topic. I keep getting diminishing returns on each video, and I doubt too many people are going to be watching this one, but I did want to put those last final thoughts out there about batteries and the differences between these little rechargeable internal batteries versus just a big deep cycle battery that you could use for days and days and days and power all kinds of different stuff off of it. So that's my thoughts. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget, I do a live stream every Friday and Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and I do one Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. for members only. So if you want to join memberships, you'll get privy to that live stream as well. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell. And I'll see you real soon in the next one.